Yes, sir. Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One. Back with another video. About to get into this video. Yes, sir. We're gonna be talking about the latest rumor. Well, the latest news. It's not a rumor about now the Cleveland Cavaliers organization are discussing more assets with the Boston Celtics, and if they do not receive these assets, they are going to void the trade that involves sending Kyrie Irving to Beantown and Boston sending Isiah Thomas, Jae Crowder, and a future first-round draft pick. Could be 18, it could be in the top 10, one would never know. Okay, so they're basically saying is that Isiah Thomas, when you're talking about his hip, is severely injured. Okay, which if the Cleveland Cavaliers did their homework, we all knew this. Hell, I even knew this. Okay, the Cleveland Cavaliers informed it to the media that Isiah Thomas has a bad hip. They suggested to him it required surgery. He had the option of doing surgery or just laying low, just rest, relaxation, and maybe the hip will heal on its own. Okay, Isiah Thomas chose the just relaxing, hoping that the hip will heal on its own. Now, the reason why Isiah Thomas did that, by the way, is because he's in his final contract year, and he's looking for a max contract. If he would have chose surgery, he would have been out of a lot of games in this upcoming NBA season. Therefore, he really doesn't have leverage at the end of the season looking for a max contract with the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics really don't want to give Isiah Thomas a max contract. Okay? Now, everyone knew this. Everyone thought the Cleveland Cavaliers knew this. And by the way, last week, a lot of people were suggesting, that the Cleveland Cavaliers GM, the new GM, did a blockbuster deal, and he pulled the wool over the eyes of Danny Ainge. Now now the story has changed. Now it seems like Danny Ainge pulled the wool over this new GM's eyes. Okay, but if you look at the deal, and let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if the deal stayed constructed as is right now, both sides still won. Okay, when you look at Cleveland, you got Isiah Thomas, you got him for the books for this year. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, he missed half of this year's NBA season, comes back after the NBA All-Star break. That's still good enough. He's a decent player. And if you're interested in re-signing him, which if you read other news reports out there, the Cleveland Cavaliers organization is not too sure about signing Isiah Thomas to a max offer. Okay, and the reason why they're not sure about that is because they're not sure if LeBron James wants to stay. Okay, why sign Isiah Thomas when LeBron James is going to leave and you're in rebuilding mode? Okay, so chances are the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to let Isiah Thomas walk anyway. Okay, if they couldn't get LeBron James or convince LeBron James to sign another extension. And if you read the rumors and the news out there that suggests that LeBron James is going to leave anyway. Okay, so the Cleveland Cavaliers wanted options. They got options with Isiah Thomas. As far as the draft pick, it's a good draft pick in the standpoint of the Cleveland Cavaliers really don't have any draft picks. Okay, they mortgaged their future away in acquiring players that LeBron James wanted. Okay, they sort of fleeced themselves, and now they don't have a future when you're talking about their own draft picks. And now, if you look at this draft pick, is a possibility an 18 pick, or maybe it will change into a top 10 pick. One will never know. Okay, so one or two things are going to happen. All right, this trade is not going to be vetoed by Thursday. This trade will be approved by Wednesday, Tuesday, the earliest. And one or two things are going to happen. Either it stays like it is, because if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, what other trades out there in the landscape that's even better or close to better than what you got right now? Nothing. Okay, you pretty much went through the whole NBA. I mean, ask all the teams in the NBA about a trade. No one can give you the pieces that you currently have right now. So this trade is not going to be void. One or two things are going to happen. The trade stands as it is, or Danny Ainge gives them maybe 2 second-round picks, or a decent second-round pick, a high second-round pick, just to entice them a little more. But if you look at if you look at the Boston Celtics, they put all the cards on the table. They told the Cleveland Cavaliers that Isiah Thomas is injured. Okay, they even sent them the medical reports. They even examined him himself. So for the Cleveland Cavaliers to examine him and then turn around and say, "Hey, we got damaged goods here." Okay, you knew from the get-go you got damaged goods. Why you think you got Jae Crowder as well as an 18 pick that's possibly going to be a top 10 pick? Okay, in the top 10. All right. So that's why you got so much for that trade. And if you look at the NBA landscape, there's really no other trades, okay, that's better than what you got. All right. Now, let me tell you guys briefly on hip injuries pertaining to smaller players. They linger a little bit longer. If you don't believe me, go check out the original Isiah Thomas as well as AI. Smaller players have a hard time, particularly with their lower body. If they have an injury on their lower body, they have a harder time to rehabilitate those injuries. Those injuries linger a little bit more. Why? Because they're utilizing their lower body a lot more than taller guards or players taller than them. All right. When you're talking about the hip has a purpose 2 ways offensively. It can be used as your standard pivot, okay, or it can be used as well as the other, as well as your ankles and your legs as for your explosiveness. Okay, so when you're dealing with an injury like that, it's going to linger a little bit more because you're going to be demanding a little bit more from that hip. And he hasn't been working out, running, doing anything. Pretty much been laying back, waiting for the hip to heal on its own. Now, like I said, he had 2 options: either have surgery or, just rest and relaxation. Maybe the hip will heal on its own. And really, when you think about it, he only had 1 option. All right. If he chose surgery, I don't think this deal would have been done. He would have been out anyway because he just had surgery. All right. So he had to choose this route. Plus, he's in his final year of his contract. He really wants to prove all the naysayers out there, including the Boston organization, as well as any other NBA teams that are willing to sign him to a long-term extension, that he deserves that money because he does that work. Okay, so he really had no choice but to rest, relaxation, hope, and God's hope that the hip will injure itself. Injure itself. rehabilitate itself, get somewhat healthy, and it really hasn't. Okay, that's one of those possibilities that happens. It happens sometimes. Okay, but when you're dealing with a smaller player, particularly with their lower body, and they injured their lower body, when you're talking about the ankles, their legs, their thighs, yes, even their hip, those injuries linger a little bit more and a little bit longer, and they have mixed results, you know, even with surgery. Sometimes having surgery, coming out of surgery with rehabilitation, still, it's 50-50. It may work, it may not work. It's one of those types of situations. And when you're dealing with a smaller player, they utilize their bottom half of their body a lot more versus players taller than them. Okay, similar to like a center. If a center damage their foot, they utilize that foot so much. A lot of people don't realize it. The pounding that foot gets, if that foot becomes injured, it's iffy on that process. Even with surgery or with rest and relaxation, you don't know how that foot's going to respond, and you utilize that foot more than any other part of your body. I'm just saying. So when you're dealing with a hip injury, those are the risks that goes down. Okay. Me personally, I think this deal is going to get done. It's going to get finalized, say, early Tuesday, no later than Wednesday. And I think if I have to be a betting man on either or scenario that I indicated, either the deal stays packed or Danny Ainge maybe adds a second-round pick, maybe 2 second-round picks at the end of the draft, or a high or mid-range second-round pick. He might add that to the deal just to be nice. But dealing with Danny Ainge, not me per se dealing with Danny Ainge, but understanding Danny Ainge, I feel like he's going to let the deal stand, because when you look at the deal, it's the best deal. It's the best offering out there. Okay, the Cleveland Cavaliers, if they void this deal, they're going to take deals that are going to be less in value. They're not going to get a high draft pick like the Boston Celtics are dangling. The whole purpose of this deal is to get better in the future, the long run. Okay, you got Jae Crowder and Isiah Thomas for your short term, term goals. Okay, so that was icing on the cake. You really did this deal because of that draft pick. Okay, if LeBron James walks, exit stage left, you're not going to re-sign Isiah Thomas. Chances are you're not going to sign Isiah Thomas. Why keep Isiah Thomas and you don't have LeBron James? You're going to let him walk as well. All right. And then as far as those other pieces go, you know, you'll keep them. And if other teams are interested in them, you're going to trade those other pieces to make better decisions in your long-term goal, because you're going to be rebuilding. Okay. None of the pieces that you have on your roster as of right now is going to help you short-term if LeBron James walks. Okay. Now, there's some other rumors out there that says, and this has got to be coming from Cleveland fans, that I guess New Orleans are going to be that stupid, that gullible to trade Iman Shumpert for Boogie Cousins. Okay, that's not a deal. All right, the New Orleans Pelicans will lose so much, and if they was even thinking about doing a deal like that, then upper management will be fired. Okay, that deal really don't benefit the New Orleans Pelicans either way. It doesn't. It doesn't help them in the short term, the long term. It doesn't. All right, and that would be a great deal for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I just don't see that deal happen. I just think that's just people talking on social media, wanting, you know, when you're dealing with fans and when you're dealing with delusional fans, they will present all types of trades that's going to clearly benefit them all the time, and it's not going to benefit the other team. That deal doesn't make any sense, and that deal is not going to shed any light. Nobody is not going to entertain the notion of that deal with Cleveland as well as the New Orleans Pelicans. Okay, that's not even on the table. But guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. Please hit that notification bell on my channel description on my channel. I appreciate it. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Down One.